folks, welcome back to Game Geeks. I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Today's episode, we are reviewing a trio of product from Third Eye Games. These are Apocalypse Prevention Incorporated, Xing, the Ninja Crusade, and Part-Time Gods. The commonality that these three books have, aside from all being published by Third Eye Games, is they all use sort of a house system for Third Eye Games, the dynamic gaming system. This is a modified 20-sided die system where essentially that's the only die you roll, and it is, whenever you roll something, it is a d20 plus attribute plus skill. A lot of people compare it to d20. I think it's more like Omni, in that there's not a whole lot of other dice you have to roll for a given situation. Most things are static modifiers you add in, including damage. Unlike Omni, there's not a static Omni table to which you compare your numbers. It can be a sliding table based on what someone else rolls or whatever the GM in question finds the difficulty to be. So let's start with what the products are themselves. API, Apocalypse Prevention Incorporated. This, to be very honest with you, is a really sexy little game, and it's funnier than heck. What this proposes is that there is actually a business whose business in the world consists of preventing the apocalypse. Going in, finding some way of preventing the world from ending, all the while having to make a quick buck. What you can play in this game is there's a variety of races from which you can choose. You've got humans, which, let's face it, are just us. Burners, which are sort of fiery demons. Changelings, shapeshifters, down through locks, which is one of the more interesting ones, giant fish demons, which look a lot more to me like deep ones from Call of Cthulhu. Then there are spectrals, ghosts, the Talari, who are your vampires, and the wolf people that really don't know from whence they come. Each one of the races has something different they bring to the party. For example, humans have more bonus points because, in theory, we're more diverse, more broadly trained, whereas the burners, well, let's face it, they produce fire regularly. The races other than human also have a drawback that goes along with them. They look really weird, or if you're a vampire, you have the sunlight problem, etc. There are certain subsets in this group. For example, among the vampires, there are different subspecies, for lack of a better word, paths or clans, if you will, although I can't say that too loud because the White Wolf police will come and beat me. Of those bring a certain different flavor. For example, you've got the vampires that can get into your mind and affect how you think, or the ones who can wander around in sunlight and be generally unaffected. Overall, this game, as I read through it, it's got a tongue-in-cheek style. I really hate comparing games and settings to other games and settings because I feel like a Hollywood producer just saying, oh, the movie's a mishmash of these six because we don't do anything original anymore. That's not my intent at all here. But one of the things I felt like when I was reading this is it's sort of like, what if Joss Whedon did Men in Black? Or what if Special Unit 2 had a more global feel to it? And for those of you who don't know, Special Unit 2 was a short-lived TV series which was about some police in a city that dealt with the supernatural. It was really, really funny. I highly recommend it if you can ever find it repeating on the Sci-Fi Channel. Either way, this book itself it's complete. There's nothing else you need. They've produced a variety of supplements for it, sort of focusing in on individual regions of the world. You've got Canada, you've got Europe, you've got background on the locks. These are all just for example. So if you're looking for sort of like Office Space meets Demon Hunters, this is the book for you. It's a really fun game and it's a really fun read. Next up is Xing, the Ninja Crusade. I have to reiterate something I said back in Iron Dynasties, is I'm not the biggest Asian-flavored adventure or Asian-flavored role-playing fan. It's just never been a genre to which I've gotten into. The basic idea behind this game is that you play a ninja in an Asian society in which the ninjas are now being hunted down. Part of the backstory here is that the ninjas at some point did something naughty, and now the Empire is turned against them, and they're all being hunted down. You have wonderful, wonderful foo powers that you can use here, as opposed to, say, the magics or the cybernetics or some of the other stuff from API. You've got mystic foo powers. You're subdivided into different categories of your ninja clan. Based on what you do, you've got bamboo herbalists, as opposed to recoiling serpents, wardens of the equilibrium, Ronin, etc. This, again, uses the dynamic game system and it's a fairly straightforward, really well-written Asian adventure game. If you like this, if this is the genre for you, take a good look at this. It's a relatively rules-light, fun game. Again, it's not my favorite genre, so I don't know that this is something I'm going to throw on the table and play all the time, whereas I could see API or our next product being a very big staple at my table. The next product is Part-Time Gods. This is a relatively recent release, as you can tell by the fact that I have it printed and bound here as opposed to nice professionally made books. Part-Time Gods supposes that there is a spark of power or a spark of divinity that can pass from person to person or just generally smack people in the face when they're not looking for it and become deities themselves. This does invite a little bit of comparison to, say, Scion by White Wolf Games. In that game, though, it supposes that you're the offspring of actual gods of legend. Zeus, Odin, what have you. I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of those Aztec gods because I'll sprain my tongue. This game does not have that presupposition included. Basically, your mother doesn't have to be a hoe and have to get it on with a god for you to exist. In this game, however, you could be walking down the street, get into a car accident, run into the wrong person, and the divine spark passes into you. From this, you gain certain powers. Now, like the other games, there are subdivisions of the overall group. The groups in this are Ascendants, who want to become like the old gods themselves, the Puck Eaters, who learn that they can gain power by devouring other gods. Go cannibalism! What can I say? I live in Wisconsin. Up through things like the Mask of Jana, who hide their existence from the world, trying to keep magic secret. One of the motifs behind this game is that this original power source from which the gods battled is called the Source. And the Source was put down, the gods drained a lot of it off, gave themselves power, the gods discovered they could kill each other and absorb that power, and from there hilarity ensued. Well, in this game, it supposes that the Source is breaking free of its bounds again, monsters start coming back, magic comes back, and oh, by the way, you're a god. So you have sort of deal with those situations. The other idea behind this is that you have to balance your mortal life with your divine life. You need to be around some of these other divinities because they help you out, they keep you from getting ambushed, but the other problem is they can eat you and absorb your power, absorb your spark, and become more powerful. They go a little nutty, but they become more powerful. It's kind of like Highlander that way. That always begged the question, why do these immortals wander around with each other when, let's face it, they're each other's food? So that's also built into here is you're with each other for protection. Starting out, yes, you have divine powers, but your foo isn't that strong yet. The divine powers you have in this game come within a certain battery of choices. You've got Aegis, Beckon, Journey, a minion, shaping, ruin, oracle, or puppetry, but these are pretty broadly defined, and you can really do a lot within those. So, 3 books to review today. API, Apocalypse Prevention Incorporated. Awesome if you want the dark comedy, preventing the end of the world sort of thing. If you enjoy martial arts, that sort of genre, you cannot go wrong with Xing. Part-Time Gods, if you're really into urban fantasy, guilty. If you're really into urban fantasy and you want something where magic has popped up recently and it all is within a common theme, you certainly cannot go wrong with this book. It's a lot of fun. All 3 of these using the dynamic game system, which is sort of the house system for Third Eye Games. As a final note, I should point out at Gen Con 2010, it was announced that API, Apocalypse Prevention Incorporated, would be being published as a Savage Worlds setting. Now, stop throwing stuff at your monitor. I know I said the S word. You'll live. It is being published as a Savage World setting, sort of as an alternate way of presenting the product. So take a look out for that. For Game Geeks, I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Good day and good gaming.